You know what I absolutely love? Sharing with people what I consider high quality and good content on games that I love. I also love for these videos to get views so that I can interact and engage with lots of different people within the different communities within the gaming space.
Hey, you know what else I love? Money!
The money, Skylar. Where is the rest? Skylar, where is the money?
So of course, I just absolutely love it when one of your most proud videos seems to just not be viewable by nearly the whole of your audience and for some reason is not in anyone's recommended.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
Well anyway, I digress. Something that always seems to work is Fallout. So Fallout, please actually don't let me down. Just please, I'm running out of ideas now. In today's video, we're going to be taking a deep look into the Super Mutants, and we're going to be seeing how strong they truly are militaristically. So without further ado, let's jump straight into this. And let's take a look at how these dumb apes really do in militaristic standards.
I am Super Mutant, standing before you. Yes, you are Super Mutant, I am Super Mutant, we are all Super Mutant. But I am unique. Your head is hurt, brother. Brain broken. You don't think right. One day I will be master, and will show you all. At least you're funny.
Before I continue with this video, I would ask that you all like and subscribe, as I seem to be getting no views now anyway, so if you would, I'd very much appreciate that. Thank you, and enjoy the video. The Super Mutants are the result of the humans being exposed to an evolutionary virus called FEV, not to be mistaken by whatever I called it in that other video I did ages ago. Now, we know that the Super Mutants are in Boston because of, obviously, the Institute and their scientists messing around with the HPV virus. HPV virus. Yeah, well, that's a bit fucking awkward, isn't it? The Super Mutants in Fallout lore were never normally on this side of the USA. It can be found out, however, that somehow the Institute got themselves a small dose of the FEV virus, which they then began to experiment with. So basically, they're in the game for plot convenience. The Super Mutants were released by the Institute onto the Commonwealth every time the Institute got success with the virus, leading to them being spread all across the Commonwealth. So, now let's talk about the Super Mutants equipment and numbers. The Super Mutants are mostly seen using pipe weaponry, weaker end weaponry that can be handmade. The main pipe weapon that Super Mutants use is the pipe rifle or pipe pistol. Pipe rifle does around 13 damage and is worth 24 bottle caps, so it's probably one of the worst guns in terms of quality that we've actually looked at so far in this series. However, it's important to note that the Super Mutants are also seen using a variety of different laser weapons, such as the laser rifle, which they use quite often. And this gun, of course, is far more effective and does a far higher amount of damage, and can be very effective in combat. As a general rule, the Super Mutants will take whatever they can in terms of weaponry. Funnily enough, the Super Mutants actually probably have, out of all the factions in Fallout, somehow the most amount of rocket launchers and miniguns. I mean, this makes sense from a gameplay point of view, as you want your enemies to have good guns, but from a lore point of view, it's kind of funny to me. And you can even find many Super Mutants throughout Fallout 4, especially with rocket launchers, and even still a lot of them with miniguns. But it doesn't stop there. They also probably use the most amount of melee weapons out of all the factions in the game. And they also, of course, use a sure hell of a lot of Molotov cocktails. The Super Mutants, of course, are never ever seen in power armor in Fallout 4, as they think it makes them seem weaker. They don't want to rely on that sort of armor to win their fights. Now, what about their numbers? Well, it's hard to say exactly how many Super Mutants there are, as they're all scattered across the Commonwealth, and there's no real one area of concentration. So I really wasn't sure how to actually get an accurate figure for the Super Mutants number. So what I did was calculate how many Super Mutants there are in Fallout 4, as I thought this would be a fair analysis of the faction's size. As I think what you see in the game, unlike some other factions where I feel you have to scale their numbers up a little bit, what you see in the game for Fallout 4's Super Mutants is basically what's in Fallout 4's lore for Super Mutants 2. The number I got with the confirmation of a video that I watched looking into the Super Mutants was 270, which I think is actually more than the Railroad Railroad, which is funny to me. Go fuck yourself, Railroad. Now, of course, we need to add the Super Mutants from Nuka World and the Super Mutants from Far Harbor, something I didn't do with the Gunners, which I will be doing, don't worry. I believe there are around 20 Super Mutants from Far Harbor and around 30 from Nuka World, which brings our number to 320, which is actually kind of a joke, as there are nearly as many Super Mutants as there are Institute scientists, which is extremely funny and kind of stupid to me that they made that many. This, of course, then means I think the Super Mutants have around 250 pipe guns, 60-ish melee weapons, 100 laser weapons, and 30 rocket launchers, and probably 20 miniguns. Oh, not to mention there are around 35 Hound Super Mutant dogs, and then around 12 superhuman behemoths in the whole of the game, including Nuka World and Far Harbor. They of course also have around 6 mini nukes that can be found in Fallout 4's Commonwealth. So without further ado, here are the final stats. Now let's talk about the Super Mutants main base. The Super Mutants main base is located at the end of the Boston airport. It only has one entrance, that entrance being an incredibly narrow bridge over the base. The base is surrounded by completely nothing but water and completely isolated on its own as an island. Fort Strong is home to the highest amount of Super Mutants concentrated in one place and makes for a strong base to defend. Did you like the joke?
The possibilities of an infinite universe. But I'm not talking about flying saucers and little green men. I'm talking about the hidden history of our planet. The very origins of human civilization. Ancient powers that modern science, even at its pinnacle, could barely begin to comprehend.
That's really interesting.
It's boring. Human too much talking.
I'm glad to hear you say that. It's become my life's work.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
If you're a faction that does not have the liberty that the Brotherhood of Steel have with air forces, then you're going to have a really hard time to attack Fort Strong, as the only way to get into the base is to go through the main front bridge. A bridge that can be held with ease, or maybe even blown up if the Super Mutants were smart enough. However, this would leave them stranded, so maybe that wouldn't be the greatest idea ever. And in fact, the enemy might actually want to blow the bridge now that I'm thinking about it. Even if the enemy made it across the bridge, however, you're then greeted with not only a whole lot of armed to the teeth, very pissed off Super Mutants, but you're also greeted by a Super Mutant Behemoth, which will make quick and easy work of most factions' ground troops. Behemoths take a hell of a lot of hits.
Yes! Strong challenge you, brother!
And are large, dangerous creatures that dish out heavy damage to most. Even if you take one down, the Super Mutants in the town you then have to face will still be very overwhelming. And not to mention, once you move inside to the main base, you're then going to be fighting 8-foot tall, green pissed off mean machines in close quarters. The problem with this is a lot of them have close range weapons, such as melee weapons.
Second big guy?
Strong go with human.
Yes, come with me.
Strong travel with human.
Hey, big guy. Don't eat this one, all right?
Robo-Man not tell Strong what to do.
I think that factions like the Railroad and Minutemen would get cut down quite easily by Super Mutants defending Fort Strong, which is especially strange for the Railroad as they're more of a close-range based attack force. It's a miracle the Brotherhood of Steel actually had the liberty that they did to manage to take down the base. As if they didn't, they actually may have got into a lot of trouble with these Super Mutants. As I forgot to mention before, they're sat on the Commonwealth's highest pile of mini-nukes in the entire game. That's right, these Super Mutants, the most brainless and dumb faction in the entirety of Fallout, were somehow the ones to seize the Commonwealth's highest reserve of mini-nukes. So if the thought of one entrance to a base, a bunch of green angry men with guns and other various weapons that will kill you, hound dogs all over the island, and one massive behemoth doesn't scare you enough, let's just give these guys a bunch of mini-nukes, so if they decide to one day confederate them and
English, motherfucker! Do you speak it?
put them together, then you're gonna have a real horrible, terrible day. This base is also extremely effective because of its one entrance. It literally can't be attacked from all sides unless you have the liberty that the Brotherhood of Steel have with air forces. Not that I'm saying the Brotherhood of Steel are the only ones who could have any success attacking this base. The Gunners also have air forces, and the Institute would be able to technically, if they could reach it, teleport onto the island. But once again, once you're actually on the island itself, it still is extremely difficult, and becomes even harder once you make it inside the base, dealing with hulking monsters at close range. So overall, I'm going to give this space a 85% effectiveness rating. Now, you may be wondering why it's not 100%, seeming as I'm basically just sucked the gums out of the Super Mutants base. Well, I'll tell you why. If somehow a faction managed to blow this bridge to the Super Mutant base, these Super Mutants are pretty much fucked. Like, there's genuinely nothing they can do. Super Mutants still need to eat and drink like everyone else, so they actually won't be able to leave, and then they will all just die of starvation or some other random disease or problem they will have. They literally won't be able to go anywhere. I mean, that's it. That's how you solve this issue. Now, then you might be thinking, well, truth, why have you still made the rating so high? Well, the reason for that is because this bridge has managed to survive being half under the water for over 200 years, nuclear annihilation, and who knows only what else it's managed to survive. If you manage to blow this bridge up, I think you'd have to have a special kind of weapon. I mean, I'm obviously over exaggerating a bit, and it's there for gameplay reasons, but come on, this is a strong bridge, and it's a very hard thing to blow, much like the Gunners' strong bridge that they have looking over their base. Bridges are built well, clearly. But, like I say, this is a really strong base and a really good start for the Super Mutants, and I find it very unlikely that a faction would actually be able to blow up the base, and if they did, they'd have to put a lot of resources into blowing up their base's bridge. So, like I said, overall, I'm going to be giving the Super Mutants an 85% rating of effectiveness on the effectiveness scale for base. Now, you know how I talked about the Brotherhood of Steel using tactics to just throw everything they have at their enemy and hope for the best? Yeah, well, that's pretty much the Super Mutants tactics times by about 10. The Super Mutants will charge into battle, throwing everything they have at their enemy, hoping for the best outcome. Now, this can be very good for them, as they can quickly overwhelm many enemies trying to stop a Super Mutant attack. However, this doesn't always work, as some forces that are tactical and know what they're doing will be able to stop the Super Mutants. Super Mutant armor can be quite effective, but that's when they actually wear it. You know, they hate armor. Kind of weird that they hate power armor, but yet they wear normal armor. Anyway, I digress. The tactics Super Mutants use are kind of non-tactics, to be honest, in general. This form of fighting is really a 50-50 chance. You have a 50-50 chance that you're going to completely wipe out the enemy due to your sheer powers, might, and strength, and your literal suicide bombers, and then you have a 50-50 chance that you yourself are going to get completely wiped out by defending enemies. Probably the funniest thing about the Super Mutants is that their best style tactically is actually defending. When the Super Mutants embed their forces and defend a location, they can be really hard to push out of an area, especially when you're fighting them inside a base or inside a building. Overall, I'm going to give the Super Mutants tactics a 50% effectiveness on the effectiveness scale for tactics. Talking about a faction's biggest feat is normally really easy and obvious, but it's quite hard to actually pinpoint these Super Mutants' biggest feat, as they don't really have one, to say the least. I mean, they own a lot of land across the Commonwealth, but none of it is really noteworthy how they got it. One piece of land, I suppose, which is noteworthy is the Super Mutants' main base, of course, Fort Strong, which there was a battle for it called the Battle for Fort Strong, where, of course, the Super Mutants won, taking over the base. The Super Mutants also had a surprising amount of battles and beef with the Minutemen. I mean, damn, I guess they really didn't want to protect the settlements.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Ah! Yes! Yes!
I got word of a settlement that needs our help. We can use all the support we can get. I'll mark it on your map.
You can't keep getting away with it!
But they ended up losing most of their battles here, so there's nothing hugely noteworthy, and the Minutemen aren't that strong of a faction, so losing to them is a bit embarrassing. Mind you, this would have been when the Minutemen were at their peak, so I suppose there's some give way there to the Super Mutants, but they don't really have a biggest feat, so it's really hard to evaluate their biggest feat. I suppose their taking of Fort Strong would be their biggest feat, but we know next to nothing about the actual battle, so there's nothing really to go off here. No, this battle for Diamond City is not real. It's done by an incredibly well done YouTuber, but it's not real. Now let's talk about leadership. Now, to place a point on the Super Mutants leader is going to be quite hard, because the Super Mutants have many packs, many different groups, and therefore they have many leaders within those individual groups. And each tribe or pack or quarrel of Super Mutants, whatever you want to call it, has their own Super Mutant leader, their own person they look up to. The main leader, however, is known to be called Hammer, the leader of the Super Mutants. Hammer is a fine leader, I guess. You can find him and you can kill him, and you can find a holotape from him where he talks about another Super Mutant leader, which I assume means they kind of all get on, I guess. You never really see Super Mutants fighting Super Mutants in Fallout 4, so I guess they kind of get on. I mean, the only noteworthy achievement that he's made is that he took over a large base from raiders, and he now is in charge of the place. I mean, the leader, of course, is very strong, and he does fight with his men. How he'd actually do leading his men. And I'm not sure how much power he actually holds over the whole collective of these Super Mutants in Fallout 4. Could he really rally them up all together to fight as one massive force? I'm really not sure. I mean, maybe he has that power. His holotape mentions another leader, so maybe they all traverse together and coordinate together, but I'm really not sure. So for this reason, I'm going to give the Super Mutant leadership a 30% effectiveness on the effectiveness scale for leadership. Chain of command is really important, so let's talk about it. The chain of command for the Super Mutants is super strange, to be honest, and I don't really know if they even have ranks. They kind of do. They have a commander in almost every settlement, which is really good actually, as it keeps them all together and united and not constantly trying to kill each other. But other than that, at the same time, they don't really listen to these leaders anyway. I mean, they follow them, but like the leaders don't tell them strategies to use or how to fight or like deploy them in certain ways, fight as usual. And it doesn't seem like there's a focused chain of command. There are clearly different units of Super Mutants, and there is some sort of hierarchy, but there's no solid foundational chain of command, which makes it really strange in battle and can make it quite a cathartic mess. So I'm going to give these Super Mutants chain of command a 20% effectiveness on the effectiveness scale for chain of command. It's really hard to compare the Super Mutants to any real army in real life. I mean, comparing them to the US Army is easy, not because they're actually anything like the US Army, just because I could compare the fact that they completely get bodied by the US Army and not actually stand a single chance. I mean, the closest thing you could really compare the Super Mutants to, I suppose, would be the Japanese army during World War II. For their zero regard for their own lives, their often horrific tactics, and the fact that they also seem to just literally charge straight into battle and leave tactics as an afterthought. Well, actually, now that I think about it, that literally fits the Super Mutants perfectly. In conclusion, the Super Mutants are a decent sized faction that can be a tough fight at close range or against a smaller, unprepared faction, but place them into an actual battle against a capable faction, and they are bound to almost certainly be outgunned and outthought by their enemies. Their chain of command is almost non-existent, and their leadership is very shaky and questionable. At least, though, they do have one of the best bases I have looked at so far. It's me. I'm here. Hello. Listen. This video is kind of ass. I'm sorry. The quality of it is terrible. Basically, long story short, I got a haircut, by the way. Just ignore that. Long story short, I came up with this fucking amazing idea. I was gonna have all my clips be 1080p, but I'd have them all filed. So like all my Fallout clips, all my Halo clips. So then I'd be able to like drag them and get them really easily. Yet, turns out I didn't remember that storage exists. So when filming this video, my clips like corrupted, and none of them are in 1080p. So I'm sorry. This probably would have been easier to listen to as a podcast. It's still a good video, but the quality of it, like what I mean is the actual quality is ass. I'm so sorry. Also, I'm just really fucking burnt out. This is not been a fun video to make. I won't even lie. I didn't enjoy making this one. I'm happy with some of it, but yeah, I didn't enjoy making this one. So yeah, my apologies for that. I'm gonna try and engage with the community more. The next video though, I am excited for. So yes, thank you guys ever so much for watching. Stay safe, guys. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.